Yeah, I started feeling some symptoms in April, a couple weeks after Augusta. Um, I mean, there's a lot, a lot. I mean, the big one was I just wasn't feeling like myself, but it was a lot of jolting, especially in the middle of the night, shaking. Hands were really tremoring. A lot of fear, and that was the one that scared me the most. Was I'm a very optimistic person, believe good things will happen, and I was very fear driven every day, mostly around death. And as it got worse, loss of appetite, chills, no energy, um, it started getting pretty bad to where I was meeting. I have a performance coach. I'm working with her. It started getting so bad. I called my doctor, RS Supply, who I've been with for 13 years, and I was like, man, I need something to calm me down, like almost anxiety. And he's like, Gito, I can't give you anything without an MRI. And I'm like, I'm shaking so bad. He wanted to rule out Parkinson's. And I got an MRI that night, and it came back with a lesion. Looks like a tumor on my brain. Started going through more testing, more MRIs. They got me to a specialist in Kansas City who explained everything to a T, that the jolting and everything I was experiencing at night was actually partial seizures. The fear, this lesion in my brain sat on the part of the brain that controls fear and anxiety. So he's like, you're not going crazy. Everything you're experiencing is absolutely common and normal for where this thing's sitting in your brain. They got me on anti-seizure medicine immediately. The seizures still continued, so they increased the dose, and once they increased the dose, that started to go down. I started losing memory. I started doing a lot of things. Started happening, the symptoms started getting worse, but the only ones they were worried about was the fear and anxiety. And as the medicine started to increase, my brain started to slow down, and those seizures started to stop, which was nice for me because I was able to function during the day. But the meds I was on were working for the seizures, but they were horrible for me as a person. I had horrible side effects, and that's the fear went away for a couple weeks. And once it came back, and I was calling the doctors, they were tracking the brain with monthly MRIs to make sure everything was stable and it wasn't growing. But when the fear started to come back, the doctor's like, we have to go in. It was pushed on the brain. The part that it's pushing on, they believed that it was growing. And I played through Greensboro. And the reason why I kept playing is my game from a physical standpoint felt really good. And I was in positions that I've been trying to get into a long time. And it was a break from what I was dealing with off the golf course. It was hard because we didn't tell anybody. But it was just, we didn't understand either. We didn't know exactly what was going on. And my caddy pulled me aside after Greensboro. We were staying together in the house. My wife was flying out most weekends just because I didn't want to be alone. I was nervous. Sleeping was the worst part because I was just jolting, jumping out of bed with fear. And mostly, like I said, around death. And so my caddy pulled me aside. He's like, G-Up, you can't play this way. You got to go get help, man. You got to get fixed. I'd be standing over a club and forget which club I was hitting. I'd be lining up putts, and I'm like, it's just taking too long. I'm just going to hit it. I just didn't have the focus, the energy. And I went the next week to see a specialist that I was referred to in Miami, which was nice because it was close to home. And he's like, we got to go in. We got to get this out. We can keep ramping up medicine, but the medicine's not slowing down the fear. Biopsy, it's too risky from where it was in my brain. He didn't want to go in any more than he had to. So surgery and removal was the next step. They couldn't get it all out from where it is located. It was benign, which is the big deal. If it was cancerous, they would have removed it all, but it's up against my optic tract. So they removed as much as they could, and they believe they cut off the blood circulation to what's left. So they're tracking it right now with every 3 months with MRIs still. I had an MRI right before I came to Hawaii a week and a half ago, and everything was stable from surgery. So that's a huge relief for me. So showing up in Hawaii practicing the last 10 days, I had a little bit of relief off my back that it's stable in there right now, and we'll just pray and hope that it continues to not grow.
You start feeling better immediately?
The fear went down immediately, and that was filled with thankfulness. I mean, the support from the tour, from people outside the golf world has just been tremendous for me and my family. And when I woke up and realized I was okay, I was filled with thankfulness and love, and that replaced the fear. It was emotional, very emotional, because I'd gone 4.5 months of every day really thinking I was going to die. And the doctors kept telling me I was okay, but this thing pushing on my brain on fear and anxiety it didn't matter if I was driving a car, on an airplane, I think the bin's going to follow me. Everything I thought was going to kill me. And so you can imagine leading up to surgery, how I felt going into having my head cut open and operated on. The fear going into that was awful. So, I felt it was hard on me. It was probably harder on my family, for what they had to deal with me throughout this whole thing, and try to keep me positive and keep me looking forward. And that was hard to do in the moment. So after surgery, I definitely felt relief. One, that I could see, one, that I had the left side of my body, because those were the two big risks going in, losing eyesight and losing the left side of my body. Having those when I woke up, being able to go home. I spent 2 days in the ICU, and then walked out of the hospital.